400 years ago, before the skyscrapers, before the millions, before the endless lights, there was only wilderness, fog, and the beginning of a dream called New York.
Before steel towers touched the clouds, Manhattan breathed through forests, river fog, and the footsteps of settlers chasing an uncertain future.
Look there, upon the horizon. The ship approaches. It carries tales of distant lands and new horizons. We must be ready for the changes it brings.
They built a wooden wall from fear of invasion. Centuries later, the world would know this ground as Wall Street.
Merchants arrived from distant oceans, beaver pelts became currency, and this fragile trading post slowly awakened into a growing colonial city. When darkness covered the colony, candlelight revealed another city, quieter, colder, and filled with uncertainty about tomorrow. The Dutch flag disappeared without war. In a single moment, NewAmsterdam became New York, and history changed forever. By the 18th century, New York no longer felt temporary. Brick homes, crowded docks, and ambition stretched far beyond the shoreline. Ships arrived carrying sugar, silk, tobacco, and human suffering. New York's harbor became one of the British Empire's most powerful gateways. In crowded taverns, whispered conversations became dangerous ideas. Revolution was born long before the first gunshot echoed across the colonies. British soldiers marched through streets already filled with anger. Every bootstep reminded colonists that freedom was slipping further away. New York stood between empire and independence. Fear filled the streets, but so did the belief that history could still be rewritten. War arrived without mercy. Flames swallowed homes, smoke consumed the skyline, and thousands watched their city collapse into chaos. Inside France's tavern, George Washington said goodbye to his officers. The war had ended, but the future of the nation remained uncertain. For a brief moment, New York became the capital of a fragile new republic. The city now carried the weight of a nation's future. Immigrants arrived carrying languages, faiths, and dreams from across the world. New York slowly transformed into a city of many identities. By the 19th century, Manhattan could no longer grow outward alone. Steel, ambition, and industry pushed the city toward the sky. Thousands arrived hungry, exhausted, and hopeful. New York became America's doorway to another life. In crowded alleys, poverty, crime, and survival shaped one of New York's darkest neighborhoods.
Gaslights illuminated Broadway. For the first time, New York began entertaining itself after dark.
Factories multiplied across Manhattan. Smoke, steel, and ambition permanently changed the city's skyline. Even far from battlefields, fear and division spread through New York during America's deadliest war. When the Brooklyn Bridge opened, New Yorkers believed nothing was impossible anymore. Inside overcrowded tenements, entire families shared tiny rooms while chasing the American dream. For the first time, electricity turned night into something alive, restless, and endlessly awake. Steel towers climbed higher each year. New York's skyline began reaching beyond human imagination. By 1900, New York moved faster, louder, and brighter than any city on Earth. Every new tower tried to climb higher, turning Manhattan into a monument of ambition. Millions entered America through Ellis Island carrying fear, hope, and everything they owned. Jazz, nightlife, and endless ambition transformed New York into the loudest city in America. In one terrifying week, fortunes vanished and fear spread across every street in New York. During World War II, New York became the emotional heartbeat of an anxious nation. 400 years later, the same island became one of humanity's greatest creations. Today, millions cross Times Square every day beneath screens brighter than the stars above them. Above Manhattan, luxury towers now rise where old immigrant neighborhoods once struggled to survive. Beneath the streets, New York still moves through tunnels carrying millions every single day. Hundreds of languages now echo through New York, yet the city still feels unmistakable and connected.
Where wooden defenses once stood, trillions now move through invisible networks every second.
In the center of endless concrete, Central Park still gives New Yorkers room to breathe. Some wounds never fully disappear. New York carries memory quietly beneath the noise. New York keeps climbing higher, reshaping the skyline faster than history can preserve it. After 4 centuries, New York still feels unfinished, restless, and endlessly alive. Every passing face carries a different story, yet together they create the soul of New York. Even in silence and rain, New York still feels larger than life. From above, New York looks endless, a living galaxy built entirely by human ambition. Even in silence and rain, New York still feels larger than life. New York was never finished. For 400 years, it has only continued becoming something greater. New York was never only steel, glass, or towering streets. It was always people, searching, struggling, loving, surviving, and becoming something greater together.